a miracle survivor. This individual, according to reports from Indian newspapers, so who knows, jumped out of the plane just before it crashed into the ground and survived.
Did he do a parkour landing?
Yeah, he just walked away. Like he's got a little bit of a limp, but he jumped out, and this is the wreckage he walked out of. Like,
I just want to know how. Like, how did he survive that?
I want to hear. I mean, I don't know if he'll ever do one, but like an interview with this man who is.
He did
like,
an interview already.
Yes.
Oh,
so did he describe like what it was like? Because the plane went down minutes after it took off.
Not so, even minutes. Like it.
I'm just picturing him doing that parkour roll like Sonic the Hedgehog. And all of a sudden he looks like Sonic the Hedgehog rolling down the street for 2 miles. And then he stood up and he was okay.
Yeah. Like conservative reports say that they were traveling close to 300 miles an hour.
I'm just how? I don't know. This is so hard to believe.
So now they're community noting saying, according to his own testimony, Ramesh was removed from the wreckage, but didn't jump before the crash. And what could have happened was, depending on how the crash happened, the wings broke off first, like it went between 2 buildings, and the explosion was actually behind the fuselage. And he really was just one survivor. Now, he is saying that he was removed from the wreckage, but I can't really trust his story because he was just in a plane crash. He also said that he heard a loud boom before the plane crash, but there was no loud boom. I watched the video.
It turns out this guy was not on the plane at all. He was. I think
it could be an Indian scammer. Like he just dove into
BBC is reporting that this as the headline is British passenger in seat 11A survives India plane crash. But then they also go down there like, well, he was born in India, but he's lived in the UK for many years.
Yeah, so he's another foreign invader.
There's a lot of misinformation going on right now.
Here's the actual crash. Holy flip, that's loud. Imagine living above that.
Oh.
That goes over these people's house every day.
It's just sinking. It's crazy.
That is what is called a acceleration stall. That's what my wife said.
Oh no, my goodness.
Mrs. Le Quartering has weighed in as an expert. That's exciting.
She said that this was an acceleration stall. And she said when it takes off, you can see that the flaps aren't all the way extended. When you need all that lift because you're on a short runway and you have a lot of load on the plane, you need to maximize those flaps. There's usually like 5 settings, what I read. And it looks like it was only on setting 1. And the way these fancy planes work is they will use throttle automatically based on where the flap settings are. And so some people say it might not have been pilot error, but it would have been that he or she set the flaps incorrectly. So then the engine incorrectly calculated the amount of thrust required. And then when you get behind the there's something called she told me there's this curve. Chat will tell me there is a curve that's, if you get behind, it's like the stall curve where it's like acceleration and angle of attack. Basically the way like if you get behind that curve, chat will bail me out here. She told me it earlier. You'll stall. And this is actually the most common spot to see a stall is on takeoff right here. Planes crash like this all the time. Is it called the Laffer curve? Yeah, maybe the Laffer curve. Peter Principle. Yeah. As angle of attack is increased G load is an accelerated stall. Yeah. That's what she thinks happened too. And you can see, by the way, the plane used the entire runway, which is not common. You'll actually see at the end here that dust flies up. So I don't think they had enough speed on takeoff. They used the entire runway to take off, even off into the dirt. You see it. You can see there at the end. There's dirt that comes up. It's hard to see. Look at this fancy shack they've built, and they just never got enough.
It looks too low always. It doesn't.
Yeah. It never got off the ground. far enough, and it's already sinking right there. See that? It
Which
never.
means the
It,
pilot
Oh.
must have known they were about to crash. Like, the
well,
second you leave the end of the runway, you're like, this is coming down.
yeah. Also, people report what could have happened is, this is something that jet pilots and stuff and pilots practice a lot, because of this. And what happens is the pilot probably panicked. Yeah, see, chat says it too. No flaps, he's stalling. Yeah, exactly. I think the flaps were set, but they were like at the lowest possible setting, and they should have been maxed for the size of this plane and the short runway. But also, you end up with a situation where pilots panic. You can also see, by the way, on takeoff, the landing gear is still down. They should have raised up the left landing gear and crammed the accelerator. But what the pilot probably did was made a distress call instead of doing that.
There was a
And
distress
you
call.
don't okay, so there you go. Yeah.
Mm.
So
There was a
instead of
mayday
making that
call before it
distress call,
crashed.
yeah, shouldn't have done that. Should have maxed the acceleration and maxed the flaps and lifted that running those landing gear, because that creates extra drag too. So everything about this points to pilot error, and it may have been.
Boeing must be so relieved that it's pilot error. I hate to
I know,
hate to be like
I know.
that. but-
Boeing can't take another one. Yeah. There was also a guy who was filming before this and showed like all the no flaps at that speed, no lift. Exactly. Seeing a lot of people in chat know the plane could have malfunctioned. I don't think so. India tried to say it was a bird, it was maybe a bird strike. It wasn't a bird strike. You can see a bird strike. There's always like a flame that comes out of the engine. It wasn't a bird strike. This was a stall. That's exactly what a stall looks like. You have the engines are ripping, but you lose lift and you just fall out of the sky. That's how that works. The other day, Jeremy admitted he would never admit how many kids he has or that he never has kids. Basically just said yes for kids. Hey, if I had 10 kids, you guys wouldn't know. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah,
Secret families are in. All kinds of people are delaying announcing their children.
See this here, all this dirt that flies up right here. You see that?
Yeah.
That means it went off the runway.
Oh,
So they
no.
I mean, you see that, like when I do it like this, you could just see like it's like, nope.
So,
Like,
okay,
there's
as they're
no-
getting closer towards the end of the runway, like, presumably
He
they've
should have
flown him
aborted.
before.
He should have aborted.
Right.
Yep.
Right? They should have just
Yes.
not, like, why did they keep trying to, like, there must be
dumb.
a point where pilots are trained, like, if you are this close to the end of the runway, just don't try. Just coast into the grass or whatever planes do.
The reason pilots they are trained to do that. But they just don't, because they think they can get out of it. It's the number one, like, ego is the number one killer of pilots, and it's not even close. There is a point of no return, but they weren't there. They could have decelerated. It was very clear that they didn't have enough speed to even clear the runway. They should have just powered down and went into the sand and wrecked the plane. You know what I mean? Like, everyone would have survived. Instead, they're all dead, except for one, apparently. This is, it just never got lift. The Indian government tried to say, oh, it was a sudden burst of wind or a bird strike. Trust me, that's not it. This is pilot error. And by the way,
why would they be protecting the pilot? Because the airline is owned by the government, or?
Well, that could be part of it. But if you look at this, how much time the pilot has to react, right? Okay, he's up. The stall alarm's probably going off right now. He has 2 seconds to react. Once it does this, once it hits that, it's over. They're dead. There's nothing you can do. This is a point of no return. You can't come out of this. So, like, once the engines are stalled and you're only fucking 100 feet off the ground, you have no time. If you're up higher, you have a lot more time to try and recover it. But yeah, this guy, there's no going to be a second lift. Once you lose lift and you're only this far off the ground, you're cooked. Maybe a small plane might be able to get out of it, but no. And so they made a mayday call instead of doing what they should have did, which is, does anybody in chat know the number one rule of flying a plane? What does anybody know what they teach pilots? No matter what happens, what are you supposed to do as a pilot? See if chat gets it. Orange Man Bad is not right.
Pray.
No. If anybody's ever had any pilot training, they know the answer.
Don't crash.
Don't crash.
Brilliant.
No,
In the air, yes.
Yeah, aviate, navigate, communicate. That's close. Maybe a more colloquial way to say it is fly the plane. No matter what, fly the plane. Don't worry about like making a call when you're 50 feet off the ground. Fly the plane.
Mm.
You know, like if a bird flies through your windshield and goes into the cockpit, you fly the plane. You know, if you stall, you fly the plane. Like you don't, you know, that's the number one thing you got to always tell yourself. If shit goes wrong, you just say, okay, fly the plane. And like, you do that. You don't worry about everything else. And that, this pilot probably panicked, made a distress call at the time when he was supposed to probably, you know, probably right there. That's it, probably. I don't know how much he could have done to save it because it looks like they maybe didn't even have enough airspeed coming off the runway. That I'm not good enough to know. And it's grainy security footage. I can't really look at this and tell you how fast it's going. It doesn't look like it's going fast enough to me.
But that's what
Like-
gets me. I mean, like, I hate to. Obviously
It
the
could be
pilot-
slowed down, but it doesn't look
like,
like it's going fast enough.
It's not going fast enough. Reaching the end of the runway, like, why try to even put it in the
Abort.
air? Why not try to, I don't know, stop? I know that I'm not a pilot, so I know I sound ignorant, but like, this seems like it was clear from very early on that it was not going to go well. And there's no, like you're saying, no evidence of like a bird issue or wind or whatever. Like, it never seemed like it was going to go superbly. Why try?
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like pilots are always like, a lot of times they're supposed to do a go around, or they think, oh, I mean, look at that jet that just crashed in LA or whatever, or in California. He flew into fucking power lines. Guess what? It was an owner operator. The number one most dangerous pilots are owner operators, especially jets, because they don't have the training. It's their plane, so they just, it's for whatever reason. If you look it up, people that own jets that fly them are involved in the most crashes, and I don't know necessarily why that is. It just, if it's that they're overconfident or they think, hey, it's my plane, or they don't take care of it. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but some people thought maybe it was a toilet related accident. I don't think that was the case here. This stall is very common, and it always leads to a crash. And you see it a lot in like small planes, stuff like that. But yeah, somebody survived it. That's cool. I guess God does have a plan for him, or maybe you just got lucky. I don't know.